Let's go, champ. It's the champ, Shannon the Cannon Briggs, and you're watching True School Sports. Let's go, champ.
My flow, my show brought me to go. That brought me all my fancy things. My crib, my cars, my clothes, my jewels. Look, homie, I came up and I ain't changing. You should love it way more than you hate it. Oh, you mad? I thought that you'd be happy I made it.
People want to see. I want to see myself. Speaking of heavyweight champions, you know, Deontay Wilder's another guy.
He ain't
Deontay.
Nothing. He ain't nothing. Beyonce Wilder.
Why didn't that fight go through?
Because he was scared. Chris Lawrence put up $2 million. That's right, $2 million, and he backed out. He didn't want the fight. He said,
Wow.
no way, no how.
Get any calls from Al at all?
Al, call me now. 954-761-5754. Excuse me. 954-761-5754. Al Heyman, call me right now. I'm ready, champ. Let's go, champ.
Let's go, champ. In your division, your weight class, I don't know if
Champ.
I don't know
My
if,
division.
exactly.
I'm the best in my division.
Tell people.
Finish.
I don't know if you saw this because it was some pretty blasphemous things that were said recently from Deontay Wilder. He said that if he ever fought Joe Louis, he would have knocked him out.
Wow.
What do you think? What do you think about that? No.
Ain't even worth complimenting. I mean, you know, he's a big guy. Joe Louis is a much smaller fighter, but he wouldn't even been boxing if Joe Louis was around. If you put him back in those days, Joe Louis would have destroyed him. And if you put him in this day, he'd be a tougher man. So you can't even go with that. But, you know, Wilder ain't nothing. Wilder, you know, listen. Man, I ain't even talking about you.
Yeah. But what about?
I'm gonna see you when I see you, because you know you said some disrespectful things on the phone to me. You threatened me, but I'm gonna see you threaten me in my face. Remember, you threatened me. I don't play that. When I see you, I want you to. Man, I ain't even gonna talk.
Right.
I ain't even talking, champ.
Right.
Real talk. Let's go, champ.
What about Joe Louis? What's your opinion on Joe Louis as a fighter?
Great fighter. I don't put fighters from a past era and say how they would do today, because Joe Louis was what, 185, 190? 6'2", 190, 185. I mean, he would have been cruiserweight. So it's hard to say what he's done as a heavyweight. But I'm talking about, if you look at the era and the people were different men. We talking about different times. They didn't have no remote control.
Yeah.
They didn't have no the luxuries that we have today. They walked everywhere they went. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was a different breed of men. So I don't even compare.
And there wasn't 50 titles in every weight class.
No, it didn't even matter. It was just a different man. I mean, you know, men and women was harder times, so you had harder people. Deontay
Wilder, man, you saw that he has to go to Russia. He has to go to Russia to fight Povetkin.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Oh man, that's gonna be great, man. That's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to that fight as well. You know, the heavyweight division is high, man, and I got to give props to Wilder for staying busy, regardless of who he's fighting, staying busy, keeping it going. So, you know, hats off to you, champ. Let's go, champ. But if I see you, it's on like popcorn. Let's go.
Awesome. Last question. Deontay Wilder, he's the other heavyweight champion in the division. Just what's your take on Deontay Wilder, and is a fight with him in the works?
I know Deontay pretty well, and I think that he's a very talented fighter with great skills. What I only have seen previously, and we're going to see this month, he's going to fight this month, that his opposition is not the opposition that the fans are expecting. Obviously he's winning in an impressive way, but I wish he could have better opponents. I understand that he has no influence who is going to be put in the ring because he's promoters and managers, but I hope he could get some of the influence and just say, guys, all right, I mean, as a champ I need to fight somebody that is really deserves, and somebody that can be good opposition and really going to make fans happy.
And then the Wilder Povetkin.
Oh, Povetkin. Easy. That's not even a question. I don't see Povetkin losing that fight
at all.
Nah.
So he's a very disciplined guy, you know. Been in big fights.
I don't see him losing that fight. He got the background. Strong fighter. No, I don't see him losing that fight. If he loses the fight, I'll be very surprised. But no, I think it's gonna be a knockout.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah.
Knockout.
It won't go past 6 rounds.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you think
people?
I know.
Listen, I've been in the ring
with Wilder, so you know.
With both of them, and it's not what you think, man.
Well,
everybody talk about this great power that the man got. I mean, Hey, I can tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Areola hits way harder than Wilder, and nah.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is like, you know, Wilder, you know, you had the, whatever it was called, dehydration. He couldn't knock you out, you know, so.
Exactly.
And you weren't even feeling your best, so if he, that to me pretty much exposed any, you know, the lack of power. I mean, not lack of power, but his power is overrated. It's not quite what people thought it was.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying the man is trash.
No, he's not trash,
but you know, it's just the hype that people put behind him. You know, the media helps him out. His record.
Yeah.
So you'd be like, oh wow, you know. But once you get in the ring with him, it's different. It's not the same thing. It's a
different story.
Nah. The only right hand he hit me with that about 20 minutes. The only thing he hit me with was in my eye, and that's the only one that really hurt me or whatever. But other than that, nah, I think Povetkin, I think he'll get the job done.
I come with a message today. First of all, I want to thank all these young men that started here that's fighting for the crown. I want to thank Stephen Espinoza at Showtime for presenting him to you. But he has something in store for him on Saturday night that's going to really be a shock. It's going to be the fight of the year. Unquestionably, you know, I'm going to introduce to Deontay, who I have a lot of love for, Briggs. He's never really met him, you know, and so I want to introduce him to, you know, and talking to you, the American public and the world at large. It's going to be a fantastic evening of boxing at the Barclays Center. I called up my friend Chuck Dolan and Jim Dolan. I want them to be guests for me at the ringside. You know, hopefully they can make it. And to bear witness to what's coming on with the new with Mr. Your Man here, that's his brother was mine. Is my dear friend. So, but here's what's going to happen. You're going to have an upset similar to Donald Trump, where nobody in the world wanted him to be president. He shocked the world by becoming president against all odds. All right, so now what we're going to have here is a shocking upset. It's going to be Bermain when he knocks out my dear friend here, Deontay. Now, you know that when he does this, and I want him to take this into consideration, that Deontay will retire. That's in his words. But I want to say right now, I want to put in my request, when you come out of retirement, come on and see me.
For a trainer, I wanted to get your take on something another trainer said about Deontay Wilder. He said that Nazim Richardson said about Deontay Wilder. He said that he's the most gifted heavyweight since the Ali era. Not the best, but in terms of like just the fact that he has that power and he's taking it where he's taking it. He kind of went as far as saying he's the most gifted.
Nazim, with all due respect, he says some many cosmic things sometimes. I wouldn't go that far. Mm-hmm. What I would say is, because that's kind of like a backhanded compliment. What he's telling him, oh, he's got power, but he doesn't have any, you know, fight, whatever, blah, blah. No, you can't say that, man. There were so many gifted heavyweights at that time. Now, mind you, has he overachieved and gone further? Yes. Mm-hmm. You have to say that. But to say he's the best since the Ali time, why?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, I don't think you're trying to say he was the best. He's saying he's the most gifted. Like, his gift is so great that he's been able to get to where he's at in boxing now. I
say he has gifted power. Mm-hmm. I give him that. Listen, I don't want anybody out there to take me wrong.
Yeah.
And to be like I'm down in Deontay Wilder, okay? I'm not down in Deontay Wilder. And he has two very good coaches. Mm-hmm. I know both of them.
JD's and Mark
coaches.
Whelan,
Yeah. So sometimes, like I was told in the past by many veteran old fighters, and coaches too, you can try to correct something, but if it works sometimes and it's very unconventional, one thing about that has allowed Wilder to go that far is that he is awkward. Any fighter will tell you, I'd rather fight somebody who can fight, and what I mean by that technical, conventional, than a fighter who's awkward. I do not like my guys fighting wild guys. I do not like fighting. They'll make your fighter
look bad.
Who's a polished fighter look bad, and you're trying to catch punches coming from these angles,
Yeah.
that's very hard to block. So I think that's an added element when you're fighting Wilder. You don't know where those punches are coming. You know, he's not conventional in the way. Now, if that was so great, all the other trainers out there would be training their guys to kind of fight like that, right? But it's not. It just happens to work for him.
I like that. That was good. That was a good assessment. One thing I found kind of interesting, and I was just thinking about this before we came on today. You have in the heavyweight division, you have a guy like Deontay Wilder, and he's, you know, kind of the first like got native from his hometown to kind of, you know, blossom into becoming like a star in boxing. And you were the first from Charlotte to really kind of pop off in boxing and do well in boxing. So you guys are kind of similar to me in that way. What if you could talk to Deontay Wilder about kind of being the first from your city or area to become really good at boxing, you know, what advice would you give Deontay Wilder?
Well, you know, I went to Tuscaloosa because there was a guy that used to live in Charlotte that I grew up boxing with. He's much older than what I am, though. I went to Tuscaloosa and I met Deontay Wilder in the gym. This is probably like a couple of years ago, about a year before he became world champion. And I told her, I said, man, I think you really going to become world champion. You know, I can just tell that you're good. I think he has great skills, real technical skills. I think he's very talented. And I think he's gifted in the sport. A lot of things has worked out very well for him. And they're probably going to continue to work out well for him, which is normally the case when you take boxers that has done what he's done. Made the Olympic team with what, 3-4 years of boxing experience?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then when a bronze medal at the Olympics, I was in the Olympics. That's not easy to medal at the Olympics. It's very tough to get there. That's the reason why, you know, we've only taken a 4-man team 2 times since 2000. Well, 1 time since 2000. 2000, and then what, 2008, the only 2 times they took a 4-man team, because 2004, they didn't take a 4-man team. And to get there and to win a bronze medal and then come out and go 29-0 to the World Heavyweight Championship, it kind of reminds you of people like George Foreman.
It's a comparison.
You see, you know, one of the good Olympic gold medal with less than 2 years of boxing experience, then he turns professional and becomes a great world champion. You know, a 2-time world champion. So, you know, sometimes when you get guys like that, and things always work out in their favor and they're gifted, they can be, you know, it's going to take something special to beat them. And with this height, with this power, with this jab, this quickness, I think somebody will have a tough time beating him.
You think a guy like maybe Tyson Fury could beat him?
Well, I think Vladimir Klitschko would beat him. You know, I think he's a small heavyweight, tall, thin, small heavyweight. I think he still has some improvement to do, but he's so talented. I think he's going to make that improvements. I really do. And, you know, but then it's got to wait to see. Sometimes some people in any sport, they can be real good early on, but never get any better. They peak out. They just don't keep developing.
Yeah. Well, what would you say to people who think that Deontay Wilder hasn't really fought anybody yet? Like he's fought like really faded ex-champions and like just like kind of guys who are not the caliber of him. Like they're kind of just building him up, and he's had like I guess 32 fights, and really, with the exception of the Stavern fight, all of them have kind of been, you know, fights he's supposed to win by a landslide.
Well, even if you are in the heavyweight division or in boxing period and you're fighting subpar competition, you're still knocking everybody out. That says a lot. I mean, you still know not to knock everybody out like that, and you know, and dominate the way he's dominated. I mean, what can you say, man? They brought him up the correct way.
Yeah.
He's world champion, undefeated. He's still knocking everybody out. He beat Stavern. Just have to wait and see. Just keep enjoying why, you know. I think boxing needs that
I want to wait and see if somebody will be able to beat this guy. You know,
Yeah.
they did Floyd Mayweather the same way. You know, I wonder if Floyd will be able to get past De La Hoya and the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. That's what makes people tune in. That's what makes you big.
True. With boxing kind of, you know, on an up and up right now in the heavyweight division, you know, what's your take on, you know, just Deontay Wilder?
Growth. A lot of growing. He got still a lot of raw tendencies, but still a very good fighter. And in his case, he's really kind of blessed. He's champion, and he's still got a lot of growing to do. So he can get that much better, and he's young. So he got a lot of upside, man. It's a lot of learning process, a lot of going through certain stuff, and watch, he'll get better and better and probably be a dominant champion.
Yeah.
Stay Good. That's good work. Good work, boy. Good work. There you go, brother. Let me take that up. Hey, all right.
Yeah, Amanda. So you were saying like Deontay's like unorthodox. He's just like real unorthodox.
No, he know his shot. He know the shots that he gonna throw.
Yeah.
And he know his bread and butter. And he know it better than anybody else. So he confident that he gonna get his. He just, you know, I pat you right here, move here like this, etc. And you think his hand down, and you come up there, you know the way you do it. Yeah. Right. It don't make no difference. You hit people. I seen him hit a guy on the forehead. And you know, usually you break your hand, you hit somebody on the forehead too hard. Like that. He know his tools. He know his tools. Confidence.
Yeah. Do you think he's like one of those fighters you can't really prepare for? Like because of his style, like the way he is?
You know, when you new, don't nobody know you.
Yeah.
But they probably got people just studying his move and all that and stuff like that. But it's impossible to catch up with somebody who don't know what they're gonna do a lot of time. You know, I'm so, you know, he have to think he know what he do well. That the jab of 1-2, but don't nobody know when he gonna do it but him, and which is the smartest thing in the world.
Hey, champ, what do you think about Deontay Wilder?
I think Deontay is great. I think he has a great jab. He's got to keep working hard and, you know, listen to him. Tomorrow, brilliant. I think he'll be great. He should keep using that good jab because he's explosive. In his last fight, he pulled his head out of his ass. He got it together, baby. He got it together.
Yeah, man, he did. It was a tough fight for him for the first couple rounds.
I don't think it was a tough fight for him, but I think it really goes to show that he thinks. He thinks about what he's doing or what he should do.
Yeah.
Things of that nature, and he, you know, pull the head out the rabbit.
Yeah, because it was one of those fights he fought a guy named Gerald Washington. He was just about as tall as Wilder, but he was kind of slow-footed, but he was still able to have success. He got boxing for a couple rounds and then had Wilder down on the scorecard. And then Wilder, you know, he's got that one-punch knockout power. So
Reminded me when I was young, man.
Think so?
Oh, absolutely. With that right hand, absolutely. And I think he's going to be around for as long as he wants to be around.
I don't know if you know the former heavyweight contender Calvin Brock. He fought Klitschko a couple yeah. I interviewed him last year, and he said that Wilder kind of reminds him. He didn't say he was as good as this guy, but he said that Wilder kind of reminds him a little bit of George Foreman, in the sense that, like, you know, Foreman picked up boxing later in his life, and then he went to the Olympics, and then, you know, then he had that one-punch knockout power as well.
Well, I think he don't remind me of George that much, but he's as strong as George. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Is there a heavyweight that he reminds you of besides maybe yourself?
If I tell the guy, you say, wow. Like, he reminds me, believe it or not, of a big Sugar Ray Robinson.
Really?
You know, yeah, because Ray Robinson, do certain things to you, and out of nowhere, pop, you out of there.
Yeah, but,
and then that Wilder woke up and got the guy out of there.
Yeah, but Ray had cleaner footwork than Wilder.
Well, I'm not saying his style.
Yeah.
It's just that he woke up and bing.
Oh, he saw like the ability to kind of turn the switch on.
Absolutely. He
Okay.
woke up and took care of his business.
That makes sense. Okay.
Deontay Wilder, the WBC champion, against Anthony Joshua, who just won by knockout.
They ain't fighting, are they?
They might fight.
But should they fight? You know, we'll know then. I think sometime when you kind of dilute the whole program, talk about who's the better man, but you know when they fight. I think both of the guys got time to work on other things to be the very best. When that time comes, the best man wins.
Who's the best pound for pound right now?
Well, it's hard to say that. So many fighters. It's kind of hard. I think it's kind of hard to be the pound-to-pound best boxer if you fight 106, 112. If you go by weight, you know, I'm telling you, the guy that's pound-to-pound the best fighter is the guy that it's not about the weight. It's about I'm the best guy, and I fought all the best people, and everybody who wants to fight shows up.
This woman wanted an autograph jam.
This is for the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame silent auction.
But I can't do that. I can't sign it.
It's for my silent auction for the Hall of Fame.
I cannot do that.
No?
Evander, you told me a while ago, about a year ago in an interview, that you thought Deontay Wilder was the best out of all the heavyweights. Now with Anthony Joshua's progression, you still feel the same way or what?
Well, what I'm saying is that everything's always changing because somebody's working and maybe somebody's not. The heart of the game is when people fight each other, you don't. Everybody have an opinion, and the fact is now there's a lot of great people with good amateur status that coming in. But I always tell people, amateur is how you learn how to fight. The sharp and amateur. When people fight amateur style, they hold their hands up and they go get it. And so the people who remain a long term like that is one going to be the very best fighter. Because you have to fight for respect. So when people know that you can fight, then they respect you. Then you got to outbox them after they give you respect. So, you know, I think that right now, of course, his name now?
Wilder?
Yeah, Wilder. He holds the title longer than anybody right now. After all the young people, he still have it. We had an altar, and so we have to choose somebody to beat him.
He the man?
He the man.
I think that would be bad.
Okay. Well, are there any heavyweights you like today? I know you say you don't really fall boxing like that, but are there any heavyweights that you like to watch fight today? Or?
Well, in all honesty, if you were other than Deontay Wilder, I really don't know no other heavyweights or any other fighters.
All right. So, what do you think about Wilder as a fighter?
I think Wilder can be one of the greatest fighters of all time. His people just got to keep matching them the right what they're doing. And I think my old sparring partner, my old buddy Mark Brilliant, who is his trainer, he's doing a good job.
Yeah, Mark Brilliant, Golden Gloves legend, have one of the.
Absolutely, five-time Golden Gloves.
Something like that, yeah.
I got 4 right behind him, my man.
Yeah. What do you think makes Deontay such a great fighter?
I think because you can't hit him. You know, he has a good jab, and I think Mark Brilliant has taught him, you know, that good left hook, you know, and a good right hand. If he can keep those and stay strong, who can beat him? Nobody.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough guy to beat.
Absolutely.
And he's got a lot of power. A lot of athleticism, too.
Yeah, he can get on his toes, run, move around, he can do it all.
I want to use that as a transition because we also talked about the current heavyweights, Anthony Joshua and all these guys, and you wasn't too impressed. Like, why don't you like Anthony Joshua?
Because Anthony Joshua, don't get me wrong, he's a good fighter. He's decent. He lost 2 fights in the Olympics. They gave it to him because he's from England and the Olympics was over in England, so he got away with that.
Yeah.
You know, now he's being fed, how do you call it, fodder or whatever?
Yeah, cannon fodder.
Cannon fodder. You guys ain't no good, and they're making a big old hype about him. A big old hype about him. You know what I mean? But to me, he looked good,
You can look like $1 million, fight like $2. You know what I'm saying? So he been looking good in the press against the second and third tier guys he's been knocking out. The only real live wire he had was a 41-year-old Vladimir Klitschko, who was out the ring 2 years prior to that. Didn't look good against Tyson Fury, so he was clearly on the downside, and they making a big old hoopla about that.
Yeah.
Right now, the most dangerous person in the heavyweight division is Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder.
Yes.
So you think Deontay Wilder would kill?
Off in about 5 rounds.
5 rounds?
Yeah. I'm giving him 5-6 rounds. Deontay gonna Joseph Parker gonna beat him with the punch, I think.
You got it.
All right. Any message to the boxing world?
Well, you know, Anthony Joshua is a fighter where he's fighting guys where, you know, he's coming up real good. I wasn't too impressed with Deontay Wilder against Ariola. It wasn't a very impressive fight. You know, you got to fight, like I said, the best fight the best. You know, we're getting something out of that. If you don't fight the best, you're going to be cheating the world of boxing. And, you know, we just want to see the best fight the best because everything else is a waste of time.
Yeah, I think Wilder, I'm right there with you. I think I share the same opinion as far as, you know, Wilder not fighting the best. You know, to me personally, I've always liked he's a bit protected as a champion. You know, good fighter, definitely good power, but the jury's still out on him as a fighter.
Well, you know,
to me.
I mean, you know, I understand it's a business and we have to make the right decision to make money. I mean, he was scheduled to fight Povetkin, and the fight fell apart. So, you know, he was going to Russia to make that fight, and that was more presentable. So you can't take away the moment where, you know, opportunity would have presented itself that he showed his talent, but it didn't happen. So now, you know, he ended up breaking his hand or whatever happened to him, the injury. He'll come back, and I just want to see him step up to the real fighters because everything else is garbage. And when people are a fan like me, I would not buy garbage. I cut my TV off and go do something different when it comes to garbage.
You go fishing.
That's right. That's right.
All right, thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, you're right.
That you're a guy who's big on the heavyweights. You know, with heavyweight boxing, you have the whole Joshua Wilder saga that's been going on. Wilder just recently turned on the zone, that big $100 million plus the zone deal. What do you make of that?
Yeah, the zone deal. I mean, that type of money, man, it's crazy, you know, because what happened is when you say $100 million, God, man, back in the day, you couldn't get no $100 million. What you had to do? You know, conquer the world. So, you know, that's crazy money. I mean, he turned down $20 million for this fight coming up with him in Brazil. You don't turn down that type of money. I mean, all that food on the table, brother, you don't turn that down.
I mean, for a mandatory defense at that, you know.
No, just not a mandatory. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
20 million?
A lot.
Brother.
Do a lot with 20 million.
True. That's 5 fights in one. Maybe more than that. So we don't, you know, 20 million, you don't turn it down.
Yeah.
And the fight with Joshua, 40 million. That's big money.
It's you get two of those paydays.
Yeah, that's right. If you win, that's more money. So, you know, it's unquestionable. How do you step away from that type of situation?
Yeah, I don't know, just bad management, I guess, right?
Well, some bad decisions were made somewhere.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's awesome money.
Okay. And you mentioned Deontay Wilder. I know you had a heated interview with, I believe it was the Jerry Cooney show a couple months back.
I actually got an interview tonight on the Jerry Cooney.
Oh, do you?
I think at like 6 o'clock or something like that.
Okay.
That should be fun. Oh, yeah. I mean, y'all do the combo. I mean, anybody who take their mother curtains and turn into a suit is a combo. Yeah, a 1978 polyester, I ain't a combo. You know what I mean? And I'm glad the fans are starting to recognize that because you can't sell tickets nowhere except Alabama. You know what I mean? And because nobody believed it. Nobody believed in it because, you know, this team don't believe in it. These fighting guys is like in the top like 15. Like, come on, man. So, like I said before, we know it's a money game, but you can bullshit, but how long you gonna bullshit?
Yeah, eventually people get fed up and they begin to see his true colors.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the fans are, they're tight now. You know what I mean? And he's fragile. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's a matter of time before we get there. And 2017 is definitely at least a year. You know what I mean? 2016 was like a come out party, but 2017, you know, we're here. ESPN had me at number
9, I believe.
9 as the prospect this year, and I'm like the first heavyweight to hit the list. So it's cool.
Yeah. In that interview, you talked about a sparring session. I guess way back when with Deontay Wilder. Like, how was that? How did that sparring session go?
Sparring session was all right. He couldn't hit me for shit. And I remember he said something about he gave me a concussion, which is not true. That's all a lie. Listen to that bullshit. What really happened at camp was I ran like about maybe like 2 hours before we sparred, and I had like my neoprene, like the surface suit with the plastic bag. So I'm like down there training or whatever, and Alabama was like 100 degrees. It was hot as hell. So I went back and ate and drank or whatever, and went to spawn like 2 hours later, and we spawned like a shed. Like it was hot as hell. So the last round, they told me I kind of faded really bad. And they said, yo, the first round was good. You couldn't hit you. The third round, you had 30 times. Fourth round, you kind of faded. And spawn was over. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, I feel real tired. I feel real dizzy. So my cousin, he lives in Alabama. So he came down to come check out spawn, but he got there late. He's like, yo, Jay, you look really tired. And I'm like, yeah, man. So you know what? Let's go to the doctor real quick and just make sure everything goes all right. Because I was falling asleep in the corner, all kind of shit. Doctor said he just dehydrated. He said, give him some Gatorade, put some fluids back in the body. That was it. If you want me to get the medical records and put it up online to show y'all, like, you know what I mean? Shit happens. Sometimes you overtrain your body overheat. I'm from New York, from Alabama. I wasn't used to the heat. I got dehydrated. Nigga, ain't nobody pull me down. I ain't touched no canvas. None of that crap. So,
yeah, he didn't send you to the hospital?
No, we didn't send me to the hospital. We went to the hospital on our own. Because my cousin, you know what? Down here in the heat, he had to do it one time too. They gave me an IV. And we did what we had to do, baby. This is what it is. You know what I mean? Dehydration, bro. Like, when you're a big boy, you gotta drink fluids, you know what I mean? I'm saying before I was training to get in shape, doing my thing. It happens, you know what I mean? But ain't nobody drop me. So don't listen to that bull BS that Deontay talking about. He wish he could drop me. That's the whole problem. That's why he never brought me back up to camp. That's why he don't want to fight me. He don't call my name. WBC got me at 13 when they used to be in the top 5. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah, man, that's boxing. You know, these guys run. A lot of these guys run away scared. Man. He's fighting another guy now. What, Warzik, the guy who fought Povetkin?
War shit. That's his name. War shit is his name. Like, you don't know shit about him. He's more worse than the dude. So. I mean, everybody. I heard the odds are 90-1. Deontay winning. I'm like, holy crap! They're not giving guys.
Dang, was that wide?
That wide, bro. That wide. So I should tell you. That should tell you the kind of opponent he picking. But yeah. Some guys got all the luck in the world sometimes.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. We got okay. Last question. From a promoter standpoint, you know, there was a big controversy that happened in boxing recently, for boxing fans at least. Deontay Wilder was offered a lot of money to go fight Anthony Joshua on the zone. He turned it down. A lot of people are mad with him about that. From the promoter standpoint, like, what do you think about him turning that deal down?
Deontay Wilder's a badass, and he turned the deal down because he's got some fucking loyalty. Yeah. Which is what a lot of these fighters are missing in boxing. A little bit of a backbone and some loyalty. So yeah, you know, they could wiggle the big carrot in front of him and show him all the hundreds of millions of dollars now, but where was that money when he was coming up? And who was there for him when he was coming up on Showtime? Who was building him, making him that bronze bomber on Showtime Championship Boxing? You know, it was Showtime, Steven Espinoza with his main man, Al Heyman, Deontay Wilder's main man. That's the guy who took care of him. That's the guy who looked out for him. So that's who he has to show loyalty to. So what do I say about Deontay Wilder? I tip my hat off to him. You know what I mean? I think he already fought the toughest guy, which was Luis Ortiz. You know, Luis came up a little short. I'd like to see that fight again.
It'd be a good fight.
You know, because that was a fight that people wanted to see. You know, I'd be curious to see the numbers of how many people really watched that one. And then the Tyson Fury fight, I'd like to see that fight again too. You know what I mean? Before I want to see him and Joshua. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think maybe the Joshua's people might want to see him and Joshua more than everybody else might want to see him and Joshua. I think right now they want to see Deontay and Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? That would be a good one to run back. You know, or Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder. You know, I think that his fight now with Dominic Brazil, I think he's going to be dominant. You know. You can't like count out Dominic Brazil, but I don't think that Dominic Brazil is going to beat Deontay Wilder, to be honest with you. There's no disrespect to Dominic. I think he's a great fighter. You know, I followed him as an amateur. I know
come a long way.
His professional career, he's come a long way, you know.
And I'm happy for him that he got this shot, you know. But Deontay Wilder says something to fighters that they don't really understand. He says, I blessed you
with the opportunity.
And he's right. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. He don't have to fight them. He didn't have to fight Ortiz. He could have picked anybody else in the top 15 and said, I'll fight. This is my optional fight. Not Ortiz. It's a dangerous southpaw. He said, you guys want Ortiz? We'll fight Ortiz. You know? So, and now he's blessing Dominic Brazil. I know there's some kind of bad blood between them.
Yeah, they had an incident a couple years ago.
Yeah, I read about it. I didn't really get into it too much, but I read about it. And, you know, sometimes when you piss people off, you never know what's going to happen the night of the fight. So I'm expecting a mean Deontay Wilder to come out, you know? We'll see what happens. But I think Deontay Wilder wins this fight. I'd like to see him fight Ortiz again. I'd like to see him fight Fury again. And then eventually I'd like to see him fight Joshua again, you know?
Yeah. I guess the argument for a lot of
people... They can't talk about Joshua fighting Wilder right now because they got Big Baby in the way.
Yeah,
you know
they
what
do.
I mean?
They do.
You can't count out Big Baby. He's from Brooklyn, you know. He's a New Yorker. He's tough as hell. So first let them beat Big Baby, and then after he beats Big Baby, they can see what's on next on deck for him. You know what I mean? Just like Wilder, he's not going to talk about his next fight until he beats Dominic Brazil. You know?
Absolutely.
But from what I've heard about Wilder, I had the chance to meet him over, I think it was in the Full Sail Arena a couple years back. I had Erickson Lubin fighting on that a Warriors boxing card that they did out there, and who was fighting? Malik? Was it Malik
Scott?
Yeah, I think it could have been Malik Scott. I know he's good friends with him, and he was there to support him, and I had the chance to meet him there. You know, it was during a real rough patch of my life, and you know, I got the utmost respect for Wilder. I think he's a classy champion. You know what I mean? I always see him take pictures, shaking hands, and doing what he's got to do as a champion, and I wish him the best. I know his manager, JD's, and you know, and he's also in his corner, and Jay's a classy guy too, you know. One of those people that you want to do business with, you know. You know there's never going to be if he says it's green, when you show up it isn't red, you know.
I feel you.
So, good guys in boxing, man. Al Heyman's got probably the best stable in boxing right now.